Hello everyone, welcome to Southern Wreaths. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. Today I'm going to make this really cute buffalo check burlap wreath. These are the supplies I'm going to use to make this wreath. I am using a 12-inch wreath form. I suggest using a 10-inch wreath form or getting another roll of burlap. Or when I start making my loops, you can see you can make them slightly smaller. I'm going to start by cutting my pipe cleaners down. I'm going to cut them into thirds. I'm going to do 4 inches, 8 inches, it'll be 3 4-inch pieces. And I'll go through and cut several because I know I'm going to need a lot. And I don't do them this slowly when I do them in bundles. I was just showing you how I do it. After I cut the first one, I'll fold them in half, and I usually do several at a time. Okay, so to start the wreath, I'm going to add burlap at a crossbar with a pipe cleaner. With a zip tie. I just like to secure anything I'm using to the wreath base with a zip tie to start, just because I feel like it holds a lot better than a pipe cleaner. I've honestly had pipe cleaners snap right into on me, so. Okay, I'm going to do 6-inch poofs. Like I said before, if you wanted to use the 12-inch wreath form and you only wanted to use 2 bundles, I suggest doing 4 or 5-inch loops. Because the center loops I ended up having to make a lot smaller. You can't really tell because I added a pretty large sign. But if that's a concern for you, you'll either need another roll of burlap, make your loop smaller, or use a smaller wreath form. Alright, and you can see I just took my thumb and pressed in the center of the pipe cleaner and it folds it in half for me. And then I just put that around one of the wire rings. I'm alternating the inside and outside. So the first poof I'll add to the inside, number 2. I think I'll show you the numbers here in a second. But you see how I just stuck my thumb in there? Yep, here are the numbers. So if you hear me say 1, 2, 3, or 4, these are the rings I'm talking about. So the first poof I put was on ring 2, and then this one's on ring 1. So the next one will be on ring 2. And I'll just keep alternating to go around the outside. I'm twisting probably 4 or 5 times on the back, and then I tuck it under. That's just because I didn't want to stab my hands. I'll go back through at the end and make it look nice and pretty. I've never done this method with burlap. I thought it turned out really nice. I would normally just loop it through from the bottom, but I thought this would use less burlap. And of course, if you have plenty of burlap, you don't have to measure each loop. You can just measure it up against the one that you have in front of you. The burlap was a little hard to work with, just because I'm used to mesh, and it's really, flimsy and easy to manipulate. And this one, I just wanted it to look really nice, so I was trying to get each poof exactly the way I wanted it to be. You can also use zip ties in place of the pipe cleaners. I just find the pipe cleaners slide easier once they're on the frame, so you can work on the right side and push to the left, or, whichever way you work. I'm just going to show you how I do the entire first section. And you probably don't have to go back and forth from the, ring 1, ring 2. I just thought it covered nicely when I did it that way. Yeah, I would say the pipe cleaners are easier because of the zip tie. You would have to feed it through, pull it down, cut it off. I was able to get 6 loops in that section. Each, section will hold about the same. Once you get towards the end, sometimes it's a little cramped and you can get away with doing, less in each section because you can't tell it's all filled up. This first one definitely takes a lot. Here I wanted to show you what I did once I ran out of burlap. You can already see how pretty this wreath's looking. I'm just going to add a zip tie at the crossbar. So luckily I ran out at the crossbar. Alright, and then I'm going to trim away the excess. You could actually hot glue it to the other one if you wanted to and keep going. Now it's going to look really funny when you see me start again and I move on because there's kind of a gap, but once you start pushing everything over, you can't see the gap. That's why if you hot glued it together, it would be pretty seamless because the hot glued part would be on the side. I decided to pull out my mat. It was a lot easier to count to 6, or the 6 inches on my mat. And now I'm just going to continue doing the 1, 2, 1, 2 with the bars. You can see that gap. I just slide it right over, and once it's all filled in, you can't tell it's there. Okay, so to go to the inside, I'm going to pull the burlap up to the middle and attach it with a zip tie. And you'll see the inside I had to make much smaller poofs because I only had 2 packs of the burlap. But again, I have a huge sign I'm putting in the middle, so you can't tell how small they are. So I decided to do 4 inches, and what I was doing there with the ruler is counting how many squares was 4 inches. So after the fact, I didn't have to keep using the ruler. Probably should have done that on the outside. Would have made my life a little bit easier. Because each square is about an inch. So I could have just counted and moved on. I think if you did all of them at 5 inches, though, you would be able to do the whole wreath with the 2 rolls. Alright, and I'm going to do the same thing with these, except for attaching it to bars 1 and 2, I'm going to do 3 and 4, and I do continue to alternate. I was just double checking that my measurements were correct, so when I count it up. And they look so tiny, and I know they do. But I think in the end it still looks adorable. I really love this pattern and the colors. Now with the center, I wasn't as concerned with fluffing as I was going, because I go through at the end and I'll put my fingers in each section and fluff it out. Okay, once I'm at the end, I am pinching it together and I'm going to attach it to the frame with a zip tie. I barely had enough to attach because I still wanted to make a loop. But it all worked out. And just make sure you push your zip tie out of the way so the pointy part's not facing backwards. Yeah, you can tell the inside's a lot smaller. It's still cute. Alright, that's what it looks like once I get it all fluffed and ready to go. So now I'm going to go through and make sure all of the pipe cleaners are pushed out of the way so they don't scratch anyone's door. And so they're nice and secure and they look a lot better than, just random. And I'm just twisting around the bar and pushing towards my desk. So here's the sign I'm going to use. Sorry it's so shiny. But you can tell it covers the whole center of the wreath, so you don't even notice the inside being smaller than the out. I decided to keep the string on this particular wreath. This sign. Sometimes I'll take the signs off, or the string off, but this string was really thin and it wasn't going to make a big difference. But I am putting the staples on either side of it just to keep it out of the way. And I'll put 2 staples in, and then I like to twist it together. And I am going to put 4, 1 in each corner. And then to add it, I'll feed it through the burlap to the base. I'm just trying to figure out which way I thought looked best. Whatever corner I start in, I always end up doing the opposite. So like at a diagonal. So I'm doing this corner, I will go across and to the right, if that makes any sense. I'll do a diagonal. This just makes it where when you add these 2, it shows where the wreath or where the sign is going to stay, and then the other 2 are just to help secure it and not flop forward. Yeah, the only thing I didn't care about with that sign was how much of a glare it has. But I thought it was so cute. That one I believe I got at Craft Outlet. That's it. That's how I made my burlap Buffalo check Merry Christmas wreath. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, or you can email me at craftingwithlee@yahoo.com. Thank you so much for watching, and if y'all learned anything today, or if you like my video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.